Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in the pop culture space, and that's going to be TV, movies, video games, books, and other fun stuff like that. And I am your resident Fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, Mo de Poupe. I'm joined by my good friend. He's an anime enthusiast, designer of video games, and lover of all things superhero. My good friend Lottie. Lottie, how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing quite well, man. Ready to talk about these Marvel and DC news, and of course talk about the movie that came out
Yeah. Uh,
today. Well, yesterday.
yeah, well, it's officially out on Fridays, but Thursday is our early access. But yes, indeed, it has finally arrived. The Suicide Squad has been released into the wild to much acclaim. Um, just it's blowing up. It's going all going to town on HBO Max and of course in theaters. And so,
Hmm.
in honor of that, we are dedicating the majority of this episode to the Suicide Squad, and we're going to be calling this episode "It's a fucking starfish." and it, this, and that shit will
if
it will make sense. It'll make sense
yeah,
when you
if you
get
haven't
into
watched the movie yet, you'll wonder why we'll call that. But if you see it, you will find this title so
And in
freaking
fact, I
funny.
almost kind of want to say, and I wish if I could have more space in the thumbnail, it would say, it ate me. A fucking starfish ate me." uh,
It's-
yeah. Anyway, but that's our main topic for this week. But we do, as usual, have some we have some news going on with superheroes in the pop culture space. Usually, when we're talking about that, it's going to be like movies or TV shows or stuff like that.
Mhm.
Every week, new things are popping up because Marvel and DC and even Netflix and they're all hard at work putting out more superhero-y stuff, and so we like to keep up with that stuff and the news items. So let's just go ahead and jump over there and I'm gonna skim through. Well, there's a crap ton of stuff happened this week. Like it's like last week was a drought. This week is a flood, and it's just
Yeah,
do we even know
yeah, a
what to
lot of
do with this?
yeah.
you know?
There's yeah. Before going into the podcast, I was even thinking that, like, geez, man, there's a lot of news. It's just every day I wake up and I look at my Google feed and I just see news after news after news, and I'm like, geez.
Yeah. Yep. Now I saw, and there was a lot of this is like set pictures. So like the set,
Hmm.
I feel like I almost feel like we should start having a little segment where we just be like, all right, here's some pictures from set. Here's some pictures,
Hmm.
and just everything, because I see like there's did you see the pictures of Doctor Strange and Spider Man for Spider Man No Way Home, and he's outside the sanctum. They're out on the street in front of there. That was cool looking. There
Yeah, I
was
mean, you knew it was going to happen eventually. He's in New York, so of
yeah.
course Spider-Man's gonna maybe one day come by and
Yeah, well, he's a part of, Doctor Strange's a part of that movie. So, no, that's just it. We just saw a picture of it. So, they're working hard on that. There was some set pictures of Christian Bale as Gore, the God Butcher. The kind of
Mhm.
first looks at him and his. I guess it looks like he's got makeup and stuff on. I'm sure it's going to be enhanced by CG. Um, but that's interesting. He's going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, giving Chris Hemsworth a hard time.
Mhm.
Um, in addition, there were some a look at Barry Allen and his I guess his alternate universe alter ego, and they're apparently interacting on
The
the set.
Purple Flash. The
Yeah, and then
Purple Flash.
there were also some set photos from Shazam 2 with Jaimon Hanso, who is is the wizard in Shazam, and interacting with with Grace Fulton, who plays Mary Marvel. So there was that going on.
Yeah.
Um, that's just set photos for the week. We don't have to speculate about the movies themselves, but it's nice to see things moving. There is also, in addition to set photos, there's rumors this week, um, or at least things that are moving forward. Rumors like casting rumors for they're talking about did they cast Namora for Black Panther 2? There's been a lot of speculation that it's going to be. Remember we were talking about Atlantis versus Wakanda,
Hmm.
so they did mention a name. I believe she's a Latina who's perhaps going to be Namora. We don't know. There's a whole lot of who knows shit going on right now. There's also rumors about maybe uh, Riri Williams, aka Ironheart,
I'm fucking down with this.
possibly showing up in Black Panther 2.
I am so fucking down with this, and I hope so. Please, please. I am a massive fan of Ironheart. Please, I will
Now
love
that's
it.
that's
Plus, it makes
interesting.
sense.
I've never actually read the Ironheart. I'm not familiar with that's I'm not familiar with her at all. I know who she is. Never
Oh, I
actually read
like her.
anything with her.
I
So
like her,
that's
and I just like of course, it's not always about turning the comic books, adding black to the comic book. It's more of just adding more flair to the comic books, and plus, it makes sense because they can easily add her into the movie because remember at the end of what was that thing called Black Panther 1, they came and started a school introducing Wakanda technology to kids in the hood. They can easily it's so easy to put her into the
oh that makes
it's
sense.
yeah, she will just be. They won't even have to explain it. You'll just like if somebody's like confused. Did you watch Black Panther 1? Exactly. They don't even have to explain it. They'll just say, "Oh, she came from the school," and that's it. And
Hmm.
she was a fan of Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That was all they have to do. And her character's been completely explained. They don't have to go into no crazy backstory or anything.
that actually that makes a lot of sense to me actually. Um, so there's that. There was you know supposedly Kirsten Dunst was spotted in L.A. While they are in LA doing reshoots of No Way Home.
Uh
We've been
oh.
talking about the possibility of that
Uh
going on.
oh.
There was a casting, and I'm trying to remember the woman's name, but there was the cast. Did we talk about this? The casting for um, announced for Black Panther 2. She's Black British. I wish I could tell you her name straight up. I cannot remember now. I'm looking it up now. Um, what is her? I'm about to tell you her name right now. Michaela Cole. She is British. She's black British, and I do believe her her parents are African. Um,
Mm-hmm.
from where exactly I don't know, but she had she's kind of got a highly acclaimed series on HBO, and she had a couple of things going on that were on Netflix that were pretty well received. She's apparently an up and coming talent, like a very serious talent, um,
Mm-hmm.
acting wise, and she's been cast in and like this is official cast into Black Panther 2. And I realized when I was when she was cast, I realized that there were a few places she could be, and I saw people talking about this online too. She could. There's a character that she's like a witch queen or something. She's like the queen slash witch or something that from the neighboring
Mm-hmm.
kingdom, who actually resurrects Killmonger, like in
Mm-hmm.
in
Yes.
the comics. So she could be the her, or and someone was like, well, she might be a Dora Milaje. I'm like, they already got every fucking athletic looking black woman in Hollywood, stunt woman or otherwise, being a fucking Dora Milaje. If she is, I think, and it would be cool if this were true. There is another character from the '90s run of and of Black Panther who she could be, and that person is this character. She's an American, so if you can believe it, an American woman who becomes a Dora, uh, named Queen Divine Justice, and she meets and become meets T'Challa, and they become friends and everything. And she's trained to be a Dora, um, and she's American. She's from New York City. So
Mhm.
there, but maybe in this one she'd be from Oakland or whatever. So there's that. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on as far. Now we haven't even talked about DC stuff really, like J.K. Simmons in negotiation to be back as Commissioner Gordon in the Batgirl movie.
And J.K. Simmons about to make bank. He's
Hey,
he
he just get
he,
that money.
he, he's Omni Man. He's back as J. Jonah Jameson, and now he's going to be Commissioner Gordon. He's going to be he's the one character that's breaking the comic book.
Well, the only person that's doing more stuff is Jaimon Hanso, who's but just in he's in every fucking movie. Um so and also they apparently cast a guy from the Cobra Kai TV show as to
Mhm.
be Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle. So they're working hard on like DC is doing shit. They're working hard on that. And just spoiler alert, DC really likes James Gunn and what he did with Suicide Squad.
Oh, of course. Oh,
They're already talking about his next thing. And I'm gonna say he's got a blank check at DC.
oh
Like
yeah, yeah. You see, you better
like
hold on to
literally.
him.
Not like
Hold on to him.
he literally has a blank check at DC. The head of the studios, Walter Hamada, he's equivalent to Kevin Feige in the sense that he runs the studio.
Yeah.
And he's like yeah, whatever, we can't wait to work with James again. We're talking about it right now. So James Gunn, we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but he essentially he has a blank check at DC, and I'll be damned if he isn't just about there at
Yeah.
Marvel. So we're seeing something that we've never really seen before, in the comic book movie thing, which is people jumping.
Competition.
Somebody who's not just jumping between the two, he's literally playing in both sandboxes, one after the other. Like he could jump back. I'm telling you, he could jump back and forth between the two of them, and it would be everyone will love him for it. So
Yeah.
I've got nothing but high praise for James Gunn right now. I'm not saying he can't do anything wrong, but what I'm saying is that dude is right now he's the golden goose. He's
Yeah.
literally he's literally jumped in there, and because of some bullshit, like some real bullshit, people trying to get him canceled and shit like that. You know what? I normally wouldn't say that, but thank the Lord for those people. But God bless them. God, you know why? Because if they hadn't gotten him canceled, you know, temporarily at Marvel, we wouldn't have got Suicide Squad. Like
Yeah.
them being pieces of shit douchebags online got us Suicide Squad. So sometimes don't ever let anyone tell you that cancel culture hasn't in fact helped us out. Because thanks to those shitty people, trying to cancel him, we get not only do we get that, we're gonna get more James Gunn stuff. We're gonna get Peacemaker and whatever the fuck else he wants.
Whatever he wants to do. Yeah.
You know what? I want you to join me. You and other like-minded nerds, y'all must join me in my crusade to get James Gunn into the similar position as Kevin Feige is over at DC. I just want
Yes.
like just I don't how could they could do worse? Who the fuck's running their shit right now? A bunch of
Yeah.
dumb motherfuckers that are just throwing paint they're throwing shit at the wall and hoping it
Yeah.
sticks. And
Yeah.
sometimes it does and sometimes it's trash. And
Yeah.
I'm sick of that. They learned anything. Marvel is full steam ahead kicking ass. Even their shittiest movies are good movies. And what's
Yeah.
DC's shittiest movies are actually shitty movies.
Yeah.
So
And some of their good movies are like, eh. You know, it's just
yeah, they're good
DC.
movies. Are like the original Suicide Squad. I liked it. It's alright.
It's an alright
It's
movie.
just alright.
It just it's the problem. The problem with DC and the thing that I just don't understand. They have the iconic characters, and it's just unlike Marvel, who it's like you said, you would think Marvel will be the one throwing paint at the wall because the only character that is really truly iconic is Spider-Man. DC, the whole Justice League. If you showed a picture of pretty much everybody in the Justice League, probably except Martian Manhunter, majority of the people on this planet know exactly who that person is. You know what I mean? Because they're that iconic. And then there are even less popular stuff are still iconic people like Batman, like the Batman universe with Batgirl, not Wonder Woman, Supergirl, all their little things that are in their universes. You just wonder why can't they just get it together? But hopefully James Gunn is the one that slaps everybody, and
Well, I
hopefully
mean,
James
yeah. Not,
hopefully James Gunn can get Henry Cavill back as Superman.
and the question is,
Please.
does he even want to do it? I mean, like, but right now he doesn't have that kind. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that kind of juice
Yeah, I
at
know.
Warner. To be honest, J.J. Abrams has more juice than he does at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Because they signed this big deal with him and everything. He's doing Superman, and then there's another. I mean, they're just all over the place. They've taken the multiverse idea the wrong way. They've decided that the multiverse means that they can just do whatever without any big plan or something like that. And I'm like, you guys, how the fuck are y'all gonna get to another Justice League, a proper Justice League, if you're not laying the groundwork for it? Like James Gunn, he's done better. I'm just gonna be. We'll talk about it later. But he's literally done with Suicide Squad in one movie what it took several movies for Zack Snyder to do. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm for real. He did something in one movie that I'm so. And he's worked with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige thinks James Gunn is a real serious find. Like when he got him to do, he did Guardians, huge hit,
Yeah.
Guardians 2, and all the parts that have in Endgame and Infinity War that have the Guardians in it, he if he didn't write, he at least advised on the writing of
Yeah.
those scenes. And before all that bullshit where he got fired, he was basically going to be Kevin Feige's right hand man when it came to developing the cosmic side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, if that don't tell you something about this dude and his talent and his ability to tell a story properly and to juggle all the balls that are required for a cinematic universe, I don't know what does. He still has the confidence, and now that we're not even gonna hide the fact that he hit a fucking home run with Suicide Squad. I mean, Marvel, they're gonna do whatever they can to make sure the dude is in their stable.
Yep.
I guarantee you, Kevin Feige's not going to let that. He's like, yes, we got you for another one, and whatever they can do. They Marvel is successful. They ain't so successful that they kick someone to the curb. That's a hit maker. They're not that successful, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, James Gunn, we're gonna talk about him some more in a little bit. The only other bits of news there wasn't much, but let's talk about this. We've been going on for a hot minute about the other news, but we got it. We can't not talk about this. Um, we we kind of got it it came out a little too late last week, so we've had a good week to marinate on what I would say is a fucking embarrassing ass situation, and the people involved should just feel embarrassed for their just shitty handling of this. And of
Mhm.
course, I'm talking about the fact that Scarlett Johansson filed a lawsuit uh, against Disney regarding the distribution of Black Widow, and and then the stupid ass response that came out of Disney. We all Disney. They're like they're just like a shitty like a shitty parent.
Yeah.
they'll show up and they'll a shitty parent that will show you how to throw a baseball or will take you for ice cream. Like they'll do cool stuff, but then they'll be a complete dick, and there's no
Yeah.
real good reason for it
And
except
they'll be and you know the problem is they'll be complete dicks to your friends. And they'll be like, it's so embarrassing because this is what goes back to like I tell people all the time. Just because you work or part of a company does not mean you're that company. It's like when people tell me, "Oh, this thing just happened," I'm like, that doesn't mean the CEO or whoever is part of it. Sometimes the company is bigger than that one person,
yeah.
and this is what goes back to like you said with Kevin Feige and all them, because like you said, they have nothing to do with this, but Disney just wants to
Well,
be,
y-
you
yeah,
know,
I will say they won't have nothing to do. It's more to the point that these are um, decisions that were
yeah, above their pay grade.
above his his station, and so
Yeah,
and I'll take your comment a little step further. Just because you love whatever Disney puts out doesn't mean you can't be like, what the fuck is y'all's problem? Because
yeah,
they can make great movies and still do shitty things
yeah,
to the people that they're in business with, and this is one of
yeah,
those situations. Like we were talking about a little before, but I mean, the gist of the situation is basically the contractual obligation was we're going to put this movie out in theaters, and Scarlett Johansson's like, cool, I'll take a pay cut. Y'all don't have to pay me what you should pay me, and instead you give me a percentage of the box office, whatever and we expect it's a Marvel movie. It's a sound business deal. Marvel movies, generally speaking, don't make less than $600 million.
yeah,
Even the lowest grossing one makes at least $600 million.
yeah,
So you know why not? And they even put the movie off for a year to try to get it in as best position as possible. But then they did, starting with Mulan last, was it November, December, something like that.
yeah,
They did the Disney Premier Access. $30 for it to be able to stream it on Disney Plus. And so that came out, and they were like, "We're going to do this with some of our other movies," and they've since done it with, a few other things. Raya and the Last Dragon, Cruella, and then this is the fourth one because I guess they were like, we can't hold on to this anymore because it's holding up the whole MCU. Which, having seen Black Widow, I don't know if that's true. They could have went on with the MCU and not, and Black Widow would have just been like, oh, there's a person that we've already seen in something.
a
No big
prequel.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
they didn't need, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this is a look. This is a pretty I have, of course, I don't have the fucking contract in front of me or whatever. I'm just gonna assume that Scarlett Johansson has lawyers that aren't idiots, and that Disney has lawyers that aren't idiots, and they hammered out a contract that said, "Hey, it's gonna be we know Disney Plus is coming, but we're only gonna put this thing on in the theater, and you're going to take a pay cut, but you'll get points on the back end so you can get a percentage of the box office. That's how we'll compensate you,
Mhm.
for shall I say a decade of loyal service and doing everything they ever fucking asked for." And
Yeah.
let's also note that whatever the contract was for this movie, I'm certain that she fulfilled her part of it. Press releases and all that. So all this other shit, all these things you see when they go and do press junkets and they do interviews and talk to and show up to stuff and red carpet. That's all in the contract. So she did all those things,
Mm.
and they're talking about that she's going to get a cut of the money from the Disney Plus. Fine, whatever. That that's a given. That still doesn't take away the fact that the contract says in theaters only, and y'all
Yeah.
didn't do in theaters only because that it made way less money than it should have. Obviously the pandemic had something to do with it, but still, it made less money than it should have because of Disney Plus, and because of that, that cut into her money. And as much as people are like, oh, you're a millionaire, you make all this money, it doesn't fucking matter. The point is, it was in the contract, right? And let's just say this: Disney's a fucking multi-billion-dollar company, and
Yeah.
they're gonna skimp on this shit with someone who has been a loyal soldier, has been backseat to every other fucking person in the MCU. The only other person that's been more of a backseat, team player has been fucking Hawkeye. Everybody else has gotten the movie before her,
Yeah.
and now you're gonna do this shit. And I don't know. There's more to it. I'm gonna let you talk because, yeah. Go ahead.
It's just goes back to like a lot of people they're just when people think of Disney they think of Mickey Mouse and all this happy fun time stuff. But honestly, Disney could be monsters, man. It's like it goes back to the whole thing with negotiation with them and Sony, and like a lot of people are just going like, oh well, Sony's wrong for doing what they do, and I'm like, how can you tell somebody they're wrong for something that they own? Like, no, you know what I mean? It's like me coming to you and say, hey, Maurice, um, I'm going to use your PS5, I mean your PS4, and I'm only going to give you $15 for it. So, you know, go ahead and deal with it. That's exactly what I offer. You're going to be like, what? No, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it goes back to the same thing with, the Scarlett Johansson stuff. It's just like, come on, Disney. Come on, man. This woman has been working for you, like you said, faithfully for a decade. And finally, her last hurrah, you drop the bomb like this, and it's like you said, the pandemic does go into the whole thing of the Black Widow movie not doing as well in the box office. But I'm pretty sure if I look up the black, let me look up the streaming revenue.
I,
Yeah,
I think they said it set a record for there, but I mean it doesn't fucking mean. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't actually mean anything, because 30, even if they made 30 million bucks on that or something like that, that ain't. Let me tell you, that's
that ain't
literally
nothing.
nothing. Like
Yeah,
compared to what it should be. And again, I understand it's the pandemic. Not as many people are going out. And there's all this Delta variant, all this other stuff. People aren't as interested in going to the. I get it, but still, that 30 million probably represents a 2 to 3 times that amount, maybe more. I mean, the revenue on Black Widow, it's also down because hasn't allowed it to play. So I get that too. Not discounting that or the pandemic, but a deal's a deal. Contract's a contract. Somebody, and you had Disney come out in response to that. Now this is, she sued, and this is again, this is very similar to the way DC did their thing. They got sued and then they just settled, right? But
yeah,
that's why
yeah. That,
corporations. This is why corporations piss me off, because you can get something that no one personally would say to somebody else, but if they're
yeah,
doing it as a part of corporation, they can say bullshit, dickish crap like this. They
yep,
said, and I get it. Any lawyer at all is going to say something like, "There's no merit." They say there's no merit whatsoever to this filing. But the next part is the bullshit. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Says the company that literally has its theme parks open right now.
yeah,
Are you fucking kidding me? This it's just sad and distressing that she's calling you to the mat for not living up to your bargains. You're gonna say disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of COVID-19. Well, why the fuck are your theme parks open if you
yep,
care so much about that? Because you don't. You're just trying to fucking shame somebody because they're trying to
yep,
look out for their interests, which they ought to be doing. Because if she lets you do this shit, other people are going to have to fall in line too. Because the difference between Scarlett Johansson and some other people is she's a legit Hollywood star and she's rich and she can say fuck off. and I'll never work for you again. And it'll mean something because she's an Oscar nominated actress and she is a bankable star in Hollywood. She does not need Disney at all. She could say fuck Disney for the rest of her life and get pizzade forever.
Yeah.
So all she's looking out for her interests. And not only that, other people like Emma Stone is like, hey, I might sue too. Or what's her name? Uh from Jungle Cruise. Uh she
Um,
might
oh,
she might sue too because
I don't blame them.
yeah, and they're right. They should. This absolute stupid bullshit. They say again, lawyers will say stuff, but they say they fully comply with their contract and that the release on Disney Plus further enhanced our ability to earn additional. But that's the thing, additional compensation on top of the 20 millions that she received to date. So they put her out on how much she made. 20 million ain't shit. They
Yeah.
these are literally movies that are grossing hundreds of millions up to $1 billion. Now I'm not saying Black Widow is going to be $1 billion movie, but still, 20 million is a fucking drop in the bucket. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have doubled or tripled that and still would have made all this money off of that. But that's what I'm talking about. That they complied with the contract. Yeah, the contract was if her lawyer, unless her lawyers are fucking idiots, the contract was an exclusive theatrical release. So doing Disney Plus Premier Access would be a violation of that contract. And just the fact that y'all decided to break her off of, from the Premier Access doesn't take away the fact that you violated the contract.
Yep.
This shit's not hard. The bullshit I don't like is I know lawyers talk that bullshit, but that whole sad distress and callous disregard is rich. It's what's ironic coming from fucking Disney, they've been trying to figure out how the fuck they can get as many people into Disney World as possible, um, and not be a super spreader event. But if they are, they don't want to have to make people wear masks or any of that shit. Come
Yeah.
on, fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Marvel Studios. I like Disney stuff in general, but fuck off. That's just
Yeah.
right. I'm on her side on this one.
Yeah. I'm
This
complete. Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, I'm completely on the side. Like this is just it's a mess, man. And then for them to let this happen is even worse.
And
You know.
they're airing dirty laundry. You could have just that here. Okay, so here's further context. Kevin Feige's pissed
Yeah.
because he went to them, to the people above him. This is not his call. He's not the one being an asshole. He was like, "Hey, make this right with her." Why wouldn't he say that? Because he's been working with this woman for a decade,
Yeah.
right? All right. He's pissed that they didn't try to make it right. Okay, the former CEO of Disney, Bob Iger. He's just like he's feeling fucking embarrassed right now. Embarrassed because shit like this didn't happen when he was CEO of the company.
Yep.
It just didn't happen. He's a Hollywood guy. He knows not to. It's not just about not pissing off your talent. It's about having good relations with people.
When
And
did he leave? When did
he this was
the oh,
last year. This was last year, like right before the pandemic, really hit,
okay.
or was it in the early on in the pandemic? But he's been chairman of the board since then, and it's just ridiculous. It's just I don't know what else to say beyond the fact that you know it's good that Kevin Feige's hands are clean on this. I don't expect he doesn't strike me as that sort of person, but man, like he needs to have a little more, say in this. He's not just, he's the chief creative officer or whatever, president of Marvel. He's in charge of all Marvel creative decisions. It would be nice if he could be, you know, have a little more say in this one because this was an easy fix. I think this was an easy fix, just like with Warner Brothers, and they went and put their shit out on blast. You know, they put Scarlett Johansson on blast. She put them on blast, to be fair, but they're all both out there, and I cannot believe that there was no attempt at negotiation for this. So just yeah,
Yeah, that's bad. That's
I just fucking hate when the big powerful people like to just throw their weight around like this shit, like no one can see what they're doing.
yeah.
It's just anyway. I'm sure we'll hear more about how that plays out in the coming weeks and months. As that if it goes to trial, I'll be surprised as shit because that's the dumbest. If it goes to trial, Disney's whoever's are in charge, they're dumb as fuck. They should settle it. Just settle this shit out of court.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Anyway. uh, so I think that's on that note. Got hot there for a second. On that note, one last bit of news. We're not going to really discuss it, but just to let everyone know, The Sandman coming to Netflix. The Sandman has finished, has wrapped its principal photography, which means that I guess they'll be going into post production, all sorts of CG and whatever. So I'm excited as shit about that because Sandman is one of the greatest comic book just ever created. I just recently finished reading the first volume, or not reading, listening to the first volume of the audio book, audio drama of it, and that's awesome. So I'm geeked about that. I cannot wait for the Sandman. I don't know. Are you familiar with Sandman?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it a little while ago. I really should. I'm gonna probably go read into it and start reading it and see how it is because I do like the more like not as popular stories starting to get like comic books and just TV shows getting more and more uh, uh, screen time because uh, just a quick little bit off topic. I know this is not really superheroes, but the Wheel of Time. One of
Mm-hmm.
the greatest epic fantasy stories of all time is finally getting its due and getting a TV show because everybody knows Game of Thrones, but honestly, I will say the Wheel of Time honestly should have been should I won't I'll say it should got its light a little bit earlier than the Game of Thrones, but we'll see. We'll see how popular it gets. But I'm happy to see stuff like this, different shows because another one, is as much I am. I'm a fan of Invincible. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing the smaller or the more independent comic books getting more and more recognition in today's day and age.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I definitely recommend um, Sandman because it's a weird, like, I don't want to say weird. It's very weird in its conception. It's weird in like very a lot of existential stuff. It's about the Lord of Dreams, and his siblings are like, they're called the Endless, and they're the embodiments of like desire
Hmm.
and death and so forth, and you know stories and dreams, and there's legends and stuff in there. That I mean, one of the cool things I heard, there was I mean, they, because dreams and stories are kind of intertwined. There's a legend or whatever about, and it's in Africa, right? So it's like
Hmm.
it sounds like it could have been an authentic, West African folktale.
Hmm.
And like, there's, we talked about the casting of the Sandman before, and
Yeah.
so now that I think about, like, desire, there people are like, oh, why does it got to be a non-binary? Because literally in the comic, Neil Gaiman, when he identifies desire, has no set gender at all. Like literally doesn't have gender. Identifies them as he or she or they. That's
I
the
mean,
like, and that so that and then that's just one aspect. There's some genuine like there's superhero shit in it, but it's not a superhero thing. It's superhero adjacent. Like John Constantine is in it, right? Just briefly, just shows up briefly. There's a
hmm
there's there's a one of there's a legitimately like horror movie part in the first volume of the audio drama, and it's a real horror um, story, and it's like, and when I say horror, I mean it's just listening to it, one of the most horrific sounding things I've ever heard, and so it's all over the place. Hell is in there, Satan, Lucifer, um, all sorts of gods, and it's such a weird and crazy and interesting book. So I'm just like, yes, I cannot wait to see how the fuck are y'all gonna pull this off. 'Cause I'm curious. I'm extremely curious. So and I recommend anyone who wants to just have a really good time reading or listening to something really good that's gonna kind of get at your imagination and kind of spark your interest in this character. Just Sandman Volume 1. It's really good. So, all right, we we've been on the news a lot. I told you it had a lot of news this week. So,
yeah, that's very
um,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we missed a bunch of stuff. So hey, if you think we missed something, you really want us to talk about it, you know what you can do? Get down into the comments and post it there, or of course you can hit us up supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter, and hit us up. We'll chop it up and see what we can come up with for the next episode. So enough of the news. It's time to get to the main the main event. It's a fucking starfish. Like for real. so, so, of course we're talking about Suicide Squad. It's not Suicide Squad, that's the David Ayer one from years ago. No, from 2016. Nope, we're talking about the Suicide Squad from writer director James Gunn, famous, of course, for many things, but in particular the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and starring Idris Elba. Idris Elba. Who else is it? Dave Das. I can't say his name. Das Malchian. Margot Robbie. Um, there was Viola Davis and newcomer. Well, I don't want to say newcomer, but somebody I'd never heard of before. Daniela Melchior, who she's the one that she plays Ratcatcher too, and John Cena, and then there's a bunch of other people, like, just like so many more people. It's rated R movie. It's about a
Shockingly rated R.
it's about a group of supervillains who are in prison, and in order to get some time off their sentence, they agree to have these little bombs implanted into the base of their skulls and to go on essentially a suicide mission. And whoever survives, they get time off of their thing. And
So my question is, how do you get time off on a life sentence?
yeah, well, that was a good question from the first the first movie. Like, well, how am I gonna get time off of a life sentence? It's like I got
Yeah,
3 life sentences. How did that work?
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's basically it. They Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, she's the leader of Project X, or what is it, Task Force X, and and also I guess the warden of the Belle Reve prison where all these supervillains are housed, and she's pulling together a team for a huge important mission called Project Starfish, and they got to go to this small town, small. Uh, in DC, they don't like to have real for whatever reason, they don't have like to have real locations. So there's a small island nation that's recently had a coup, and now they've got to secure this whole project
It's Cuba.
Starfish.
It's
Yeah, I
Cuba.
mean it's Cuba, yes, but it's what what is it, San Maltese,
Yeah.
Maltese or something like whatever. It's Cuba, and so that's where we start. And speaking of starting, we're we're gonna have to do non spoilers first, just for the benefit of the 10 people who, for some reason, don't have HBO Max, or maybe people are just too scared to go to the theater, so that for whatever reason they want to hear us tell our non spoiler thoughts. So, that said, Lottie, what did you think about this movie? Non spoiler.
So I was having this conversation with my friend Anthony because he's kind of one of those people that is like very skeptical of the movie, and I gave him a really good comparison that I'm going to say on the show too. Um, this movie made a Thor Ragnarok type leap when you compare it to the last movie. You know, when you look at Thor 1 and 2 and compare it to Ragnarok, they're like completely different movies. It's sort of like the same thing. This was a massive leap. It's not like, oh, it's better than the first one. Because people always ask me, is it better than the first one? And I'm like, I think that does this movie a little injustice if I say it's just better than the first one. You know what I mean? Because some people be like, oh, so it's just all right or a little bit better. No, it is a lot. It is. I don't like every time when people ask me, is it better than the first one? I always never answer it. I redirect it because it's just, it will literally take away from what the movie is. It's so much better than the first one. Just the action, the drama. One of the main things that really I loved about the movie is that I actually felt the drama in the movie. Because a lot of times when I watch a lot of superhero movies where they try to add drama to it, I just sit there and go like, they're trying to make me feel bad, or they're trying to get this emotion out of me, and they're not doing a very good job. This movie, the emotions that they were trying to get out of me, I felt it. When they wanted me to feel sad for a character, I felt it. When they wanted me to be angry about a character, I felt it. When they wanted me to feel outraged or, pumped up or excited, it pulled it out of me. And I'm pretty sure you're thinking of the scenes that I'm talking about, that they were able to get this emotion out of me. And that was one of the more shocking parts about this movie. That it's like I tell people, it's just not like people say it's just a good superhero movie. I'm like, no, it is a good movie overall. In my opinion, the movie it's a really good movie in my opinion. I loved it. I loved the movie. There were some parts of it that I'll say maybe the transitions were a little too fast or something like that. Maybe a second time through, I'll be able to digest the movie a lot quicker. But I'm a smart person. I could keep up with the movie, but some people may not be able to keep up. That was really just it's a little tiny critique. But besides that, I enjoyed the movie, beginning to the end. The characters in the movie, loved them. I love how they interacted with each other. I just loved how they even changed up some of the characters from the last movie to where of course, the warden. She's the same character, same actress, but she's a little different. She's different. Like this is a different woman. It's not the same person. You know what I mean?
All
And
right,
you
I'm
can
gonna start. Are you
tell.
talking about Harley?
No, I'm not talking about Harley.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the warden.
Oh no, you're talking about Amanda Waller. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Amanda
yes.
Waller. Yeah, you can tell she's a different person. This
Mm.
is not the same Amanda Waller. Like she's a different person than she is in the first movie. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. The movie was good. I really enjoyed it. If you are hesitant on watching this movie, I highly doubt that you will not like this movie. I honestly will put this movie in the top 3 DC movies that came out in the last 15 years, in my opinion. It is in the top 3. It's not better than the Joker,
Which,
but
yeah.
it's good. It is really good.
All right. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going. I'll just say straight up. I loved this. I loved this movie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read you. I tweeted my little quick thing. It was. I said it's ridiculous, gory, hilarious, fantastical, raucous, in your face, and genuinely heartfelt.
yeah,
Um, let's see. A genuinely heartfelt thrill ride. The DCEU is richer for this Motley Cruise adventure.
yeah,
Um, my God, where to start? It's funny. This movie's hilarious.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not kidding. It had me laughing, laughing inappropriately, I might add.
yeah.
I shouldn't be laughing so much at the wanton murder and destruction that's going on, but it's fucking funny. It is just like some of the things that happen in this. It's just hilarious.
Yeah,
It's also, and I said gory. It is like watching a horror movie. The
yeah. It
amount
is.
of
It's
blood and
shockingly.
the guts and like it's to the point of it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah,
Not unbelievable and I can't believe they're doing this, but unbelievable as in I can't believe this is actually a thing that's happening.
yeah. Like
To
this is a superhero movie where
yeah.
it's shocking. That's why I said in the beginning, shockingly rated R.
Yeah, it's a very much it's you can tell that James Gunn has made a horror movie before. He has. He's made a very good horror
Yeah,
movie, and it shows
yeah.
in the way this goes on. There's a lot of James Gunn flares, like the titles and everything like that of the different chapters within the
Oh
movie.
yeah,
That
I love
that
that.
those were fun. Um, there is, as you said, a lot of emotional weight, and it's look you it, think of if you think about the things that happened in this movie. Take the superhero shit out of it. Take all of that stuff out of it. And there's still a story in there that
Yeah,
if you made it about people who were robbing banks, or if you made it about people who were driving cattle across the prairie, or if you made it about people who were investment bankers, this would be a fucking compelling ass movie. Like
yeah,
that just the character stuff that's going on. James Gunn, he wrote and directed this. And he does something that I wish other comic book ensemble, anyone that's doing ensembles, Zack Snyder, I liked Justice League. I even liked the Justice League 4 hour cut. And I wish he had half the talent with managing a bunch of people that James
man.
Gunn has. I
If
wish he had
James
half
Gunn
of
did the
that.
setup, if James Gunn did the setup of Justice League, that movie would be legendary.
It was because there's no look. This guy's got a talent. He
Yeah,
literally brought in like over a dozen people, over a dozen characters. You have only four characters you know anything about in this
yeah,
movie. Everybody else is brand new. And in the course of this movie is just 2 hours and 12 minutes long. And when 2 hours and 12 minutes, he tells you everything you need to know about every single character that matters at all in this movie. You know who they are, what motivates them, and they have a character arc that matters.
yep,
That's why I'm not kidding. If Zack Snyder had half the talent that James Gunn has on dealing with an ensemble, Justice League would have been a multi-billion-dollar movie because
yeah,
it makes no sense that brand new the two character. And this is not a spoiler. I'm just letting people know when you watch this movie, there are two characters that this movie revolves around, and their chemistry and relationship is absolutely the center of this movie, and that is
yep,
Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2. And in the course of those 2 hours, I felt every time things happened, or things happened to them, for them, by them, their whole little there's a moment within about 30 minutes into the movie where I was like, okay, I like her. Okay, I like him. And my God, nobody better fuck with them. That's why I
yep,
felt like, and he did, like, how is he? I'm asking myself, how's he doing this? How is he making me give a shit about every single one of these characters because I've watched
Yeah.
movies. I've watched movies where I've gotten to the end and I don't give a fuck about any of the people
Yeah.
that were in there or what happened to them or anything like that. I didn't care at all, and I
Yeah.
cared about what was going on with all of these people.
Yeah.
I think uh, there's some great action set pieces. There's some, I mean, just gigantic stuff going on. The villain, the big bad is Is so ridiculous, but it works. I,
Yeah.
w- I w- I watched this movie and I'm like, this is the DC universe. Like I know it's the DC universe because there's a slight bit of unreality to what's going on, just a little bit. Like the physics doesn't work quite the way I'm used to, and I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care. I don't. I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. It's like that the whole way around. There's some, there's some very much silly things that go on, right? Very silly
Hmm.
things. Hell, the characters are silly as shit, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Absolutely fine with it because the story, like I care about the characters. You know, this the violence is it's sometimes it's funny. There's moments of complete badassery by many of the characters, right?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is telegraphed. Like I had complete, then the finale. I was pretty well aware of how it was going to end, but it was
Yeah.
fine. I was fine with it because it looked fun and interesting. And so, and even like some of the twists and everything like that, that what more we find out about things, um, they just hit at the right time. And I'll
Yep.
go and when we go into spoilers, I'll definitely get more into that. Point is, great characters, great story, lots of real humor, not shitty humor that we usually get in super. No, real good humor. Um, a great cast. Everyone was clearly all in on this. Um, and clearly, DC got the fuck out of the way and let James Gunn make his movie. And thank God that they did, because this is a movie that could have been fucked around with by executives, but instead they let him do his thing, and he made. I don't want to say the best DC movie, but it's damn close. It is damn close to
Yeah.
the best DC movie possible. I started watching it again today, and it's this shit hits just the same. It hits just the same. On the big screen, on the small screen. Um, so I just overall awesome movie. One of the best movie. In fact, best movie of the year for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just straight
Yeah.
up best movie of the year for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Um, DC, if you're smart, you will get this dude. You just write him a check every time he says he wants to do something. Just write him a check. Just do it. How you can not gonna go wrong. So, anyway, we need to go into spoilers because I've got lots to say. So anyway, if you have not seen this movie, this is a good time for you to go and rectify that bad decision you've made to not see this movie yet. Go fix that, go see it, come back and hear us talk about this, but absolutely you ought to see it. It's great. Great time, good time to be had. If you're squeamish, that's the only thing I'll say. If you're squeamish about gore and violence, maybe don't. And don't take do not under any circumstances take your kids to see this movie. This is
Yeah. It's
not
not a
the
kids
one.
movie.
This is not the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Absolutely don't.
Yeah.
Especially
Don't. Yeah.
if you have a problem with seeing the man's junk. If you have a problem with
Yeah.
seeing a man's junk, just don't. So
Yeah.
anyway, so we're gonna get into spoilers right now. So if you haven't seen this, get the hell out of here. And I'm kidding, but do not you come back after you watch the movie, and we'll chop it up about the spoilers. So, all right, you have been warned. It is spoiler time. Lottie, it's just just such a wide open field. So just whatever you want to say.
Uh, so I just want to piggyback on what you said earlier about, like you said, it was a horror movie. Somehow he made the most obscure villain a fucking starfish. scary. Like I was actually scared of this thing. I was like, "Oh my god, this thing right here could literally take over the world if it gets out." Like I was like, "This is kind of creepy." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It had no little mini versions of itself taking over people, and once they're on it, they're basically dead. And like basically like what is that thing called, face huggers and stuff like that.
yeah,
But there's nothing. You're dead no matter what, and it's just you. It's crazy how that was the final villain. I also really loved the part of you know God, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Was Bloodshot?
it's a blood sport. Blood sport.
Bloodsport's freaking phobia is rats. And it's just when he first sees it, he's like, ah! He's like, wait. He has a phobia of rats. And I just love how she was just constantly like figuring this stuff out, and you're just like, yeah, I think we just made the worst team possible.
Yeah.
It is just hilarious how that worked. It's just like, man, I cannot believe we. It is just like the same thing. The weasel, he can't swim, and they were just like, what
It's
in
just,
the world?
he's just like, who is this B team that y'all picked? And like the fucked up thing about like there's two fucked up aspects to this. One is that James Gunn was like, who can I kill? And they were just like almost anybody. Oh, I
Okay.
don't mind if I do. There's that aspect of it, but also the aspect of we just need a cannon fodder team, so let's just get randos. And
Yeah.
they don't even do it well. Like it's the most minimum effort rando picking at all. Cause like Weasel can't fucking swim and he drowns like with it's like the first they don't even see combat. He just drowns.
Yep.
And then they're on the beach, that whole little opening sequence out at the first kill when Pete Davidson's I forget the name of his character. Who gives
Yeah.
a fuck? The guy gets
I guess it's
face shot in guy. That's his.
yeah.
It's so the
It's
whole
just
the whole thing. You're just like, so this you picked all these people and set them up and put them in costumes and everything, and they're just gonna get murdered.
And it was just so funny that even like Harley was like, "Who the fuck are? Wait, that's the armed attached guy. What
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck?"
Oh my god. Oh, but his name is the detaching kid. That's what TDK stands for. And
Yeah,
all I can think of is I think I wrote this down in my notes. The worst the worst superhero and power set I've ever seen in anything. And I've seen a motherfucker that his like the polka dot man is a stupid ass. Which actually he's not stupid in this, but that's a
yeah.
stupid ass. Or the spot, which is again, it's not stupid actually. It's pretty cool power. But I've seen some pretty dumbass powers, and that's the dumbest ass power. Like
How did he get in a prison like that?
what did you
Anyways,
do? Like okay,
like what did he?
you can detach your arms. Congratulations. Like what did they're not even special arms. I figured they would be like psychic manifestations, or they'd be super strong, or whatever. No, they're just arms that float around and slap people.
Yeah,
So
like what did he do?
like congratulations, you can give hand jobs from across
First of all,
what the fuck?
at
I mean,
least with
come
like the
on.
weasel, I can see him like mauling a couple of regular people to death. Like, you know what I mean? You can
Or at least
see,
maybe it gives them rabies or something, so eventually they'll die. So,
he can, he just slaps people, and it just then this woman, she's just heavy,
well,
you know?
she's what she is. Remember Mongol. She's a female version of it, but apparently she's also dumb as shit because
Yeah,
I mean, she dies in like everyone dies in a dumb. Like Javelin's the only one where I'm like, okay, well, you just got shot, but maybe in the future actually wear armor instead of whatever that stupid
it
ass
just yeah.
speedo shit that you had on. Like the only person that had any fucking sense on the whole, and he was still dumb too, but was Savant was like, fuck this noise, I'm getting out of here. Um, but this actually reminded me of something like that James Gunn made. He made all the right decisions in here. one of the best things he did in this, of the many great things he did in this movie, was he established Amanda Waller correctly. And by correctly, I mean that she does not fuck off.
Yeah, yeah, she's a straight like in this. Yeah,
It should be clear. Like in the first Suicide Squad, she seemed like she
you,
was a
like she
reasonable
had a
person.
conscience.
Yeah,
Like she actually had a conscience. Not in this one. Now this is a bitch.
no, no,
She does not.
she doesn't fuck her. She doesn't fuck off at all because I. That's one thing in the first Suicide Squad. Everyone who died in Suicide Squad 2016, they died on the mission,
Yeah,
right? In this one, she blew a motherfucker's head up because he was abandoning the mission.
yeah,
That's who Amanda Waller is.
yeah,
And you see it through the rest of the movie that she does not give one.
yeah,
She gives zero fucks about any of the people on there except maybe Rick Flag. All she wants is the mission accomplished, and she doesn't care
yeah.
if she has to blow your fucking head up.
Yeah, really, she doesn't even give a fuck about him.
Yeah, I mean, she does, but he doesn't have the respect.
Rick Flag was the who again? I'm trying to remember.
Rick Flag, he was the leader. He was the leader. He was wearing the yellow shirt.
Yeah, but
Tall.
she ordered what's his name to kill him if he finds out anything. Remember?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but in general, she sort of cares about it because he's not a villain. He's
Yeah,
running the show. Um. So, like that whole little first scene where she literally just picked a bunch of people to get shot. And here's the other fucked up thing. Think about that whole first scene. Look who was in that in the get killed so that the other team can get in easy squad.
yeah,
Two people who survived the first time around.
yeah,
That three people, because Rick Flag and Harley and Captain Boomerang, rest in
yeah,
peace. Captain Boomerang going out in a pretty stupid way, actually. I mean, he basically got team, what you call it, team killed.
yeah,
Mongal kind of fucked him up.
yeah.
Um,
The damn helicopter sliced them to pieces.
yeah, and the only people who were who were safe. I knew when we were watching. I was like, oh well, Harley's gonna survive this.
Yeah,
She's got plot armor, and so does Rick Flag. So those two aren't gonna die. Yeah, that's like the first 10 minutes, and then of course we find out that the other team is gone, and then the flashback to how Bloodsport gets recruited. And I'm gonna say straight up, Idris Elba was a boss in this movie. I
mhm,
I can oh my god, I loved
yeah,
Bloodsport. Absolutely
yeah,
loved his powers. He's Deadshot, but with like a different helmet and like different sort of. He has like those. I don't know who the fuck made his weapons, but the detachable bits of his suit that become like big sci-fi guns and shit like that. That was
yeah,
cool. That helmet that looked like a fucking alien. That was cool as shit. But he's just a good character. He's a great character actually, in my
yeah,
opinion. So good. And then him getting recruited and again showing who Amanda Waller is. Like Jen was asking me, she was like, do you think she really would have done that stuff with threatening his daughter? I was like, hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
if he had said no, that girl was gonna be in that prison within the week. I guarantee
yeah,
you that. And
yeah,
I was like, you don't know, people that don't read the comics, y'all don't know Amanda Waller. She is a villain. She works
yeah,
for the good guys, but she's a villain.
yeah,
Like for real. There's two villains in this movie. One is her, and the other is Starro. So, or at least the people who are trying to control Starro. So it's, um, yeah, the whole thing with Bloodsport, just like that character in general, was just awesome, and his whole little fight, his little bickering with Peacemaker was hilarious. What do you think about John Cena in this role?
honestly, I am happy that John Cena can finally get away from that nonsense of Fast Nine and prove that he can actually be a good actor. Because he could have destroyed his acting career messing around with Dom. Let's just be honest. Could have messed up his acting career messing around with that dude. But he proved that, in my opinion, I can see him in a lot of action slash super. He did a really good job. It was actually kind of shocking, and I'm like, "Hey, John Cena actually could be a good actor. Like, I could see him doing a lot of this stuff. Did a good job. He was hilarious. Of course, he was funny. You know,
Well,
I like the little.
well, I was just gonna say, remember, James Gunn made Dave Bautista look good
Yeah,
in the Guardians. So, but yeah, no, I agree with you. Cena was, um, he's the douchebag, murderous Captain America,
I just love
basically.
how I just love how they were having that little like penis swinging contest where they were like killing everybody in the camp. and it and it turns out that they killed the wrong people. But honestly, honestly, I don't think they killed the wrong people. I sat back and thought about it after the scene happened. I really think she does not give a crap about the resistance. She just wanted them
Yeah,
like
probably. No,
you
yeah, no,
know
you're. I think you're probably onto something. She just like, she directed them like, oh, let's get rid of some of our problematic people. Well, I knew as soon as they were like, she's like, kill them all with extreme prejudice. I was like, these are gonna be freedom fighters that are actually on their side, so they're gonna
yeah,
murder all these people that they're supposed to help them.
yeah.
Which was weird to me that the leader of the resistance was like, oh no, you murdered all the like 20 people in my camp. Oh well, I'm gonna still help you anyway. I'm like, what the heck? What did you not know any of these people? Like, they're
Like the
20.
only
They're
reason
20 people
the
that are
only
dismembered or shot or blown up or in the stomach of fucking King Shark, and you're not bothered by this?
I
I'm
think
just
the only reason why she changed her mind is because she saw how fast they killed them, and they're like, "Yeah, this is the only possible way that we're gonna win." You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That they would have murdered all the rest of them too, for sure. Because my God, Peacemaker and Bloodsport, they are efficient ass killing machines.
Yeah.
Shit was crazy. I did I did also like again David Dasmalchian as uh Polka Dot Man. Holy crap. What
It's just once again James Gunn. How do you go from making a scene seem so sad, so just terrible, to funny? It was just like, oh, oh my God, your mom was a terrible human being that did terrible things to you and your family. And it's like, where's your mom now? Everywhere.
and yeah.
It just is like,
And then you're like, "Oh, he's like, "Oh, he's early on Bloodsport's like, "Oh, we're all going to die." He's like, "I hope so." I'm like,
I
"Oh."
hope
He's
so.
like "Fuck." It's like I'm dealing with one of you emo kids. And then you realize this is not just it's not emo. It's just, like there's a common theme that's running through this story. I didn't, when you think about these things, I have a tendency, I bore Jen to death, just kind of like picking apart stuff like this. But there's a common theme going on amongst the people, that were
Mm,
that survived into the movie, and that's like some serious childhood trauma. Like think about Bloodsport, right? And Bloodsport and Peacemaker were both essentially abused by their fathers in order to turn them into like efficient killing machines, right?
yeah.
Uh, Polka Dot Man, you know, saw all of his brothers and sisters. Who knows how many there were? Brothers and sisters experimented on and die from the experiments by a mom that wanted to turn them into superheroes.
Yep.
And the thing is he hates her for it, and he probably killed her. And he's definitely psychotic. Like in that moment when he says she's everywhere, he's definitely got, he's psychotic or whatever. But
Hmm.
also, he really wants to make her proud, and actually, he internalized her desire for him to be a superhero. Like
Yeah.
just the complexes that these people have, and I'm not sure about Nanoe, aka King Shark. I'm not sure exactly if I can categorize him. His problem is more that because of what he looks like and what he has no real connections to other people. He's been basically alone for a long time. And let's see who I feel like we're missing somebody. Who are we missing? Are we missing somebody?
Rat. What's the
Rat
rat
catcher.
chick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
rat catcher's whole thing was her childhood trauma wasn't because she had a bad parent. It's just because her parent that was attentive and everything taught her everything she knows and gave her the equipment she had. As attentive and loving and everything as he was also a heroin addict that died of an overdose when she was
Yep.
young. And so, like, that's ultimately the source of the connection between her and Bloodsport, which again I say they're those two characters, their relationship to each other is the center of this movie because they're bonding. He bonds with her because Bloodsport's got he has basically no relationship with his daughter. He's estranged from his daughter, and I believe it's not just because he's a shitty person. I don't think that's true. I think he is a shitty person, and he doesn't want his shittiness to ruin her life, and that's why he says, "Stay the hell away from me."
Yeah.
And it hurt. The thing is that when Ratcatcher 2 says, he's a good guy. You're a good man. I know you are. He is. He wants to be his daughter's father, but he knows he's bad for her. And it hurts him every time when he has to push her away. And so
Yeah.
now you have this, young lady who basically is a good person. She's just, a thief basically with some powers
Yeah.
and lost her dad and is looking for another, a father figure. And maybe not actively, but she meets Bloodsport, who is looking for a surrogate daughter who he can't screw up. She's already screwed up because of being in prison and everything. She can be the surrogate daughter. He can be the surrogate father. And that relationship right there, just like it's the center. It's the center of everything. It's the reason why I gave a damn about much of the movie for a while, because I wanted them to be okay, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of it's honestly some of the best, you know, writing, definitely this year, but some of the best writing I've ever seen in a superhero thing at all. Just it's beautiful. So, um, yeah, okay, I'm gonna let you talk now because
No, 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 no. It's okay. It's just like you said, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. There's just no doubt about it. I really enjoyed everything this movie had to offer. I loved the different, like you said, just how each character, went with each other. It's like you said, Polka Dot Man, you know, one of my favorite things about him. And unfortunately, he died in a
in a
you
dumb way.
know, in a
It's
dumb
just,
way. He was celebrating that he was finally, he's a superhero, and he just, fortunately, he didn't make it to the end.
yeah,
And you just felt, and I thought he was going to make it. I thought, okay. By the way, I really loved that scene when they all was just like when they were about to walk away. But then he was like, "Oh, screw it, let's go save these people," and they all just turned and go walk and said, "You know what?
yes,
I really love that part where she's like, turn around. And then the woman hit her with the golf club.
yes.
It's like, nah, we're not going to let all these people die just because you want to be a B word.
Or just because because she's the ultimate soul. She's holding the line for the U.S. government. They had to
Yeah.
cover up their involvement and everything, and they didn't give
Yeah.
a fuck. That's again Amanda Waller. She's a villain because
Yeah.
she was going to let that entire island nation be ravaged by Starro, which is a dumbass idea. In the comics, Starro getting a foothold is bad. It's
Yeah.
because as soon as he gets on one of the superheroes, his shit is done. So
Yeah.
yeah, that whole bit, like I love the crew back, at home base basically doing a mutiny to prevent, the Suicide Squad from being blown up and then becoming their eyes and ears so that they could definitely, in other words, acting like a real superhero unit. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Um, I there's there's just like there's a bunch of shit going on. But I do want to, you know what? I want to talk about, well, there's a couple things. One, I want to talk about Harley's, the romancing of Harley Quinn.
Oh
Which
yeah,
who
I
who the
did want to talk
first of
about
all,
this.
who the fuck wants to do that? Like, look, I get it. Harley Quinn's hot. I get it. That's the ultimate bad move for anybody that wants to not be murdered, because you basically have to be as, you got to be on her level. And who's on her level? Joker,
Joker.
basically. So, um, yeah, there's that whole little, and my one of my one, or a couple criticisms of the movie was how that part of the movie seemed out of it seemed on a different pace than the rest of the movie. So I felt like it definitely slowed down, or even slowed down the movie from the pace it was moving at before. And it was a little jarring, but fortunately, it was actually a really good scene.
Yeah,
Um,
and, of course they had to give, of course they had to give, Harley Quinn her little spotlight because there's a lot of Harley Quinn fans out there. But honestly, she was, not important in this movie. Let's just be honest.
I
She,
don't know if I agree with that. I'm not sure I agree
you
with
don't
that.
agree with that?
Well, I don't say. I would say I mean, she literally assassinated the the president of the, and she assassinated him for good reasons because he's a piece of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
The the whole the whole bit, like, the thing is that James Gunn uh he did a lot for her character development. He built on what was in Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey, the emancipation of heart. And this one, this guy was like, I like you and I want us to be married, and I'm gonna change this country. And she's thinking, after Birds of Prey and everything, she's trying to be better for herself. She's trying to avoid toxic relationships and anything. And then, her whole s- understanding of herself that she attracts shitty dudes, and then being able to cut it off before it gets too far along. That there is a line that they can cross, and she's like, no, I'm good. And in her own way, she's like, instead of saying I'm gonna leave, she's like, no, I can't leave guys that are attracted to me because they don't give up. So I just got to kill them. I thought that was, I watched this. I watched it twice, and the second I was like, you know what, this is like, she's smart and she's insightful and she understands herself well enough to know that this dude sucks.
hmm yeah,
He's going to be awful to his people, and he's gonna fucking use this shit on kids. And he's like, yeah, no, I don't need this in my life, and neither do other people. And she just kills him. I really enjoy that part. Was she consequential in terms of, like, the outcome? I mean, she did some shit. She she was as consequential as any of the other characters, I think. Well, I think is important is that you kind of realize that she is actually an essential part of the Suicide Squad. She's extremely capable. I mean, she John Wick the whole that fucking yeah, well, that building. She John Wicked it and looked good doing it. I was like,
yeah.
okay, all right, all right. Somehow, I guess, while when she was running with Joker, she took all the martial arts classes or something. I don't know.
And then just the absolute just ugh. Uh,
She went
I like
ham.
how I love how they covered it. They tried to cover up the blood with flowers.
Well, I think that's her mental instability
Yeah,
come into play. But she went ham,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
for real.
And
Um,
she was just letting out her anger, and I just cannot believe they just thought I just love that part where she pretended that she was knocked out. As soon as the dude left, she just woke up, and it was just like, oh,
She did. She did. You know what it is? She used that thigh master on the regular. That's
yeah.
but I was like, holy. I really when I was we were done with the movie, I was like, is Harley Quinn a ninja? What the? I was like, what the fuck? What is she? What is she? Who trained her? Cause she, I mean, seeing what she did in this movie, I mean, I wouldn't say she couldn't fight Batman legit. I mean, she lose, but what is she a secret member of the League of Shadows that we don't know about? Like what the hell? Either
I
way,
mean,
no,
she is a bird. She might
sh-
be an owl.
I mean, she's pretty badass in this one.
Hmm.
Especially at the part where she's so fearless and throws her body at stuff. Like when she jumped at the fucking eye, I was like, are you seriously about to dive kick uh, the Starro's eye? this what a giant vulnerability that maybe you as a giant creature should have done something about. So,
I
um,
mean, but at first, honestly, let's just say they shot him in the eye. The
yeah,
military were shooting him in the eye. They were bouncing off.
maybe there's something special about
The
the
spear, that
spear
trident.
that we
Yeah, that
don't know
spear.
about. I hope she
Yeah.
keeps it. I honestly hope she keeps that spear. Um, oh, let's okay. There's other scene, but we got to talk about this. Um, the death of Rick Flag. Um,
Yeah. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see it coming.
that was
Uh,
that. You know what? So this is again. This is, in my opinion, this is just a testament to the sort of filmmaker, writer, director that James Gunn is. So that all that stuff happens. So what we expect happens. Starro gets loose, and then he takes his retribution against the Thinker, which I really enjoyed the Thinker character, as for briefly as he was there.
yep.
um, but prior to that, prior to the whole explosion, and everything, you see that Rick Flag. I say, Rick Flag is Captain America without, he's a little more willing to kill people, but he definitely wants to be a hero, and
Yeah.
he wants to do what's right, as opposed to whatever Amanda Waller wants. And when he realizes that Starro, is it was been run basically by the U.S. government, up until the coup, that this is all about scrubbing the data and destroying the evidence, and that all the atrocities that were committed in order to study the thing needed to be talked about. And it becomes clear that Peacemaker has been given a secret mission to make sure this happens, and so it's going to be Rick Flag versus Peacemaker. And up until this point, it's been like it's no, there's it's funny, and there was comedic and everything, and then there was kind of like a horror element of like, holy shit, there's a Cthulhu monster, that y'all are barely containing, and then it goes from there to this brutal, absolutely brutal fight scene, and that kind of the changing of gears, and you see, and like, because the thing is, when I saw them start to fight, I was like, oh shit, one of y'all are gonna die. Like I just thought, like, there's no way this ends without one of them dead, and
Yeah.
I just didn't see it being Rick Flag. I thought it really was gonna be Peacemaker, and
Yeah.
just you were talking about John Cena's acting, and his best bit of acting was when he killed Flag.
Yeah.
Did did you now? Because you notice when he killed, like he liked Rick Flag,
Yeah.
he respected Rick Flag,
Yep.
he followed him. I'm sure he'd heard about him or whatever, all that stuff. But when it came to the mission, he had a mission to do, and he was going to do it. And if it included killing Rick Flag, that's what it was going to be. So when he finally struck that blow after an absolutely brutal fight scene, when he finally struck that killing blow, you could see in his eyes, like if you look, John Cena's acting in that is phenomenal. his eyes of absolute regret at having to do that, and
Yeah.
just like
He
he's regretting having to do it, and it looks like that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. And this is what, like I said, that scene like really stuck with me. And like I said, it just shows that John Cena is he's a lot better actor than what we thought he was. But it goes back to what you were saying. I did not think that he was, Rick Flag was gonna die. Like he, I really liked this character. He was a good guy, and he really stuck by what he believed in, even if it meant his death. He really did because honestly, you just you can't if you have a conscience, you just can't walk away from that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's what he was trying to get. He was trying to get the other, him to see like how can you say whatever, keep the peace of justice? This is what is wrong because this is it is because on both sides you're experimenting on a creature that didn't ask for this. But let's be honest, that creature can bring the end of the world, and they're holding this thing down, and it just and then you got to ask yourself. Then you got to ask yourself this too. Is I was thinking about this as you were talking earlier. They wanted him to get out
Yeah.
because, like, honestly, there's no way that dynamite would have killed him. They wanted him out. They wanted him out, going around killing.
It'll probably give them a good pretext for sending like the Justice League or whatever over there to essentially take over the country. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sucked. Rick Flag was Joel Kinnaman. Just really kicked ass in that role. I really liked his character. I hate to see him go, but he went out.
yeah,
He went out doing the right thing, and also really inspiring Ratcatcher too. The other unsung hero. I sang the praises of Idris Elba earlier. Daniela Melchior. I think I'm saying that right. God, she was phenomenal. Just you understood who she was early on. She's a good kid in a bad situation, and and a hero. She does choose to do the right thing, and is almost killed, but uh, and she also, because of her belief in saying that Bloodsport's a good man, he chooses to try to live up to it. And also, she's
yep,
super important. Like, it, you know, I kind of saw it. I was like, oh, the only way to get Starro is he's too big. You're gonna have to swarm him. And so that's what they that's what they do later on.
yeah.
To actually get rid of Starro. Um,
Honestly, I thought, how I thought they were going to beat him.
turn into Voltron.
No, no, I thought what's his name was going to polka dot guy. I always felt like there was going to be a moment on how he throws up that stuff. I
Hmm.
thought he was going to like hold on to it for a very long time and then like almost die and spit it out like at the dude's eye or something like that.
Yeah,
That's how I thought they were going to end.
I
I
saw.
didn't think
Yeah,
that a massive bunch of rats. And plus, like I said, they also needed what's her name to pierce through his eye too,
yeah,
because that's really what killed him when the rat started eating him from the inside out.
yeah.
And then the last word he said, it was kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, I did love like how did he for a second I was like I kind of feel sorry. I felt sorry for Starro because I'm like he's like I liked it better when I was just up there staring at the stars, and I'm like, God damn it, people, y'all, why are y'all always ruining stuff for people? He was just floating up there, hanging out, looking at the stars, and now all of this because
Yeah.
people want to fuck around. Like, let's get it together. Um,
Yep.
I'll tell. Well, I'll tell you what. There's one thing about blood. What's the name? You're talking about Polka Dot Man. He should have gone for the head. That's he's just, he's,
Yeah, yeah, he
he's
should have went for his eye.
yeah. He did he pulled a Thor on that one definitely. Um, so there, like, I'm trying to think. There was, yeah, the big massive fight scene. And it was the thing is that you're just like, what, as usual. You asked this about the Suicide Squad. What the fuck are y'all gonna do? Like, really asked, like, a dude with some guns, uh, someone who can control rats, a crazy woman with a spear, and a guy that shoots interdimensional polka dots at people. How the fuck did y'all save the day? And
It kind of
and
reminded me a little bit of the Avengers, but a lot more hilarious because you got this big shark dude who's like the Hulk, who's
oh
like,
yeah, I forgot the shark
God
guy.
dang, what can he? Only time I ever seen this man get damaged were by these cute alien dish fish.
They're like
That's the only time
piranha
I've
or
ever seen.
something. Some weird ass piranha or something. Yeah.
I think they gotta be
Yeah, they
aliens
gotta
or
be
something.
alien shits, but
Because that's the only because nothing of that Earth can hurt him. They were shooting bullets at him, and he was just making him upset.
like, I loved how and there always has to be in one, especially in like kind of one of these ragtag thrown together teams. They're not really a team until the end, where he's just like, the leader is just like sending them all to do their thing, and he knows exactly where to put them. He's like, and I love that you said Hulk. You are, my God, you are 100% correct. Hulk, remember Captain America, Hulk, smash. That was literally what he's like. Hey, nom nom, and then he just goes and tries to eat. Oh my God, that's a perfect pull right there. um, I did. Man, I love the way that this movie ended, especially where they were just like, yeah, you know what, we'll keep it covered up. Just leave it the fuck alone. We're out. We're out of here. And
Did you see the end credits?
yeah, where they got Peacemaker. I was like, please be Joel Kinnaman, but no, he's dead. So it was Peacemaker. So maybe
Yeah,
that leads into the TV show. I'm hoping.
and then what's his name? Somehow he survives. You didn't see
Oh
it?
yeah,
The
Weasel.
weasel.
Yeah, Weasel. So what?
Weasel.
I don't even.
I don't want to know the terrible things he's about to do.
That's he's just a weasel. I don't know. It's yeah. So yeah, overall, just like I mean, I'm like I said, we missed some stuff. Like they went to the club um and the whole little bit with the checkpoint but
Yeah,
for the most part, a lot of that stuff just it very violent. A lot of shooty stuff there. Like I said, I had a couple of things. I was just like, this place is for being under military occupation. Y'all sure don't have any. When they were going to go, rescue Harley, I was like, is no one looking around right now? There's a fucking shark guy literally out in the open. What do you? Where are the soldiers? This it felt very small. Like in that moment, the movie felt like it was in a place with not enough extras. Um, but that's again, this basically that. When I know there was times I noticed that like you know what this is much smaller than it should be, or there's not enough people, and then it was paced a little funny in certain in some parts.
yeah.
But I mean beyond that, this movie's
It was a
just
good movie. It
it's.
was a
I
good
mean
movie.
I need to go finish watching it for a second time, so and I'll probably watch it again. Lots of fun. I've got high hopes for the future for whatever James Gunn's doing next. So I don't know. A lot. You got any other comments you want to make on the movie?
No, no, that's pretty much it. I really, like you said, I enjoyed the movie, enjoyed every second of it. I, man, I, great movie, man. It's not. If you're still if you haven't watched this movie, and you let us spoil this movie. Just please watch this movie, please. I mean,
and
it's really good, guys. It's
yeah,
really good.
and I will say it may not be for everyone. I think there's some aspects of it like there were times when I was watching it in the theater and I laughed. And I was pretty vocal about my laughter, and other people weren't quite on the same page. So I don't. I think there's some aspects that maybe it won't all be for everybody, but I think overall great movie. So anyway, those are our spoiler filled thoughts on the Suicide Squad. Um, and so, what did you guys think about you know, our thoughts about the movie? What did you think about the movie itself? Did we miss some stuff? I don't know. You know what you can do if you want to let us know about it. Get down to the comments and let us know what you're thinking about. Also, hit us up supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter, and we can chop it up about this movie. So, and hey, while you're in the commentary mode, why don't you go down there and join the Super Not Funny Show family? Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, let you know when we drop new content. We hit up a couple of podcasts per week, and we're trying to do more because TV season's coming back in. It's almost time to start doing some more reviews and more reactions, all that fun stuff. So check all that stuff out. Also, Lottie, why don't you let them know where they can hit you up on social media?
Oh yeah, you can always find me on my Instagram and my YouTube channel. My Instagram is Anu Kinihun is ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN, and my YouTube channel is Kinihun25. I always upload different videos, gameplay videos, um, videos of characters. As I also post different pictures of characters that I'm working on Instagram. So yeah, check me out. Constantly keep updating stuff so you can support the Super Not Funny show.
Yep, go over there. You guys know what to do. Show Lottie some love. Give him some subscribes, likes, all that fun stuff. You know what to do.
Hmm.
So that concludes this episode of the Super Not Funny Show. Lottie, can you believe this is episode 12? Episode 12. We've done 12 Super Not Funny shows. We're just rolling
Wow.
along. Right? Yeah, I know, right?
Just rolling
Just
along,
rolling
just
along
rolling.
here. And my lord, next week, come back and join us for next week's episode where we're going to be talking about the first episode of Marvel's What If, and of course all of the superhero news that are going on in the pop culture space. It'll be a good time. What If? I'm highly anticipated, highly anticipated, ready for that to get going. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks once again for joining us on this episode. Come back next week for the next episode. Until then, I have been Mo de Poupe, your resident fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'm
Mm.
joined by my good friend, Lottie, who's the anime expert, video game designer, and all around lover of superheroes. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
See ya.